All right, you can tell that the oven is it's a smoking. So, what do you know? The oven is smoking. I'm gonna take this. Ooh, girl, if you could see this, man, is it fabulous? All right. Kitchen pro tip. It's always good to have a metal baking sheet or a cookie sheet to put your hot substance onto because you don't want to burn your cookies. I mean your hands to your cookies. All right. Isn't she beautiful? Oh, don't get your hopes up. It's not my meatloaf. It is Betty Crocker's super moist devil's food cake. All right, at this moment, it doesn't really look like a cake. It looks like a meatloaf. You can, the top part seems to be crumbling off, but you can tell that it's burnt. Oh, girl, if you could smell. It's very burnt, but that's just how I like it. All right, you gotta be really careful when cutting into this, all right? Because it is still very, very hot. All right. It's cooled off a bit. Oh, how beautiful. It looks delectable. All right. Now, I'm going to get a fork and I'm going to try this for you live with Historical Cooking with Aunt Martha. All right. So I have this fork, all right. This is beautiful. I just want you guys to have a little look-see. Oh, top is burnt, the bottom is undercooked. Just how I like it. All right, so I'm gonna try it. Not bad. Not bad at. All right, it's bad. It's pretty bad. For an hour, very burnt and very raw. All right, and let's just do a recap. All right, so we followed the instructions. Kind of close. All right, instead of 3 eggs, we added 1 egg because of the inability to compromise and the Missouri Compromise and everything like that. All right, we added, instead of 1.5 cups of water, we added like 2/3 or 3/4 cup. Again, talking about compromise. And the oil, we didn't wash the water out first, so the oil and water did a mix, and it had trouble measuring. And it's kind of like the North and the South. Again, less oil than needed because the inability to compromise, you know. All that jazz. And we added the wet ingredients first, you know, instead of the dry, like the instructions said. And that, my friends, represented the South secession from the Union, everything like that. All right, and we added salt. We added a bunch of salt to represent the unfair taxation on the North and the South. All right, and we added milk. Sour milk, I may add, to represent states' rights versus federal rights and that whole issue, you know. And that milk, you know, it smelled okay, and it didn't look that okay. It tasted okay. All right, I'm lying. It tasted bad. It smelled bad, and I should have known better. And I should have stopped arguing with myself and come to a conclusion that I shouldn't have put it in. But let's have one more taste. Just oh. That is disgusting. All right. Last but not least, burned it to represent slavery, the abolitionist movement, and the Underground Railroad, and everything like that. And all of those components, all of the lack of ingredients and the extra ingredients, and the burning, and the temperature, and the cook time thereof, represented the American Civil War. All right. If I would have let the salt out, there still would have been sour milk, still would have been enough wet ingredients, and it still would have burned. All right, and if I had left the sour milk out, still would have been salty, still wouldn't have been enough wet, and it still would have burned. If I would have cooked it, fine, and it would have cooked the right time, and if it would be at the right temperature, it still would taste bad because of the sour milk and the salt and the lack of the wet ingredients. All right, so all of these things together, all of these things added up, if you take one of these things out, it still would result in the same bad, very burnt outcome. All right, now that we have everything cleaned up, I hope you learned a lot about Betty Crocker's extra moist devil's food cake. And oh boy, was that cleanup and the preparation and the taste a devil. So I hope you learned how to make a great cake, and I hope you learned about the American Civil War. All right, this has been Cooking with History, Historical Cooking with Aunt Martha. I want to thank you, everybody, for joining me on this very special, very, very special Civil War edition of Historical Cooking. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at Historical Cooking Historically Aunt Martha. All right, we have a fan page. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Historical Cooking _ Dr. Auntie Martha. Don't forget to follow me on MySpace. That's just Aunt Martha. Join us next time. We're going to make lemon bars, learning about the Battle of Gettysburg. All right, see you next time. Bye-bye.